All right, so I'm doing a head-to-head test today of the new Ping i240 irons and the Ping i230s from 2022. Now, I tested these when they came out. I had some distinct memories of them, and one of the things is I thought these blades were kind of long and elongated. I think my memory was incorrect. I know that was my impression, but looking at it next to the i240s, they are very, very similar. This head is slightly bigger than the i240. But I think the sole and even the top line are thicker in the i240s, if just by a little bit. And that reflects more of the weight being moved to the perimeter to help with MOI and to help with the launch for the i240s. Anyway, I'm gonna hit some shots, a few shots with each. As soon as I get enough good shots accumulated, I'll get the average distances and other relevant numbers, and I'll report them to you. I'm going to start with the i230 wedge. See, that was perfectly acceptable to me. I pulled it, which is fairly normal for me. It says 121 carry, 76 peak height. And I'm not unhappy with any of those. That's not, like if I catch it well, I expect a minimum 125 carry. A few more, then we'll switch to the i240. All right, so that was flushed. Not 100% contact, but probably 95, 90. Okay, that says 141 carry. That was 78 club speed, smash 121, 94 feet high. I think it did go higher. That was caught well. And that said 136. That I believe. Okay, maybe one more. A little bit better contact, great line. That says 136. Okay, I think we'll call it on that. I'm done with the i230 wedge. Now we're gonna go with the i240 wedge. All right, let's see. That was very well struck. A perfect, fairly relaxed swing. Great trajectory, great line. It says 134.5 carry. So I had about a 125 carry with my wedges for years and years. Lately, like every summer, I could swing a little bit better. Contact improves a little bit and I will gain 10 yards. And this is one of those occasions. Similar swing, a little towards the toe. And that says 128 carry. All right, I believe that. That's a suitable punishment for missing towards the toe. One thing too with the i240s and i230s is they have good enough feel, like they have good feel, that you can tell when you miss hit and where you miss it, more importantly. And towards the toe is my classic miss hit. It's 85%, about a groove low, I think. That was a little more flushed and a lot more pulled. That says 147. Better? I mean, half a groove to a groove low. That says 143. And I'm gonna call that. That was good enough. And there's the carry. It says the club head was 83, which is pretty darn fast for a wedge, so I'm doubting. Smash 114, which is low. 87 feet high, 1400 spin, so that's fiction. Oh well, on to the next club. All right, so now I'm gonna go with the i245 iron. Maybe we can possibly focus on a target. Hit a decent shot. I am not unhappy with that. That says 192 carry, 82 feet high. So that was very, very enjoyable. Let's see if I can do that twice. That is as well as I can hit a 5 iron. So solid. Beautiful trajectory, beautiful window. 193.2. Okay, one more. Toe pushed. Speaking of pushed, I think I'm pushing my luck. I'm going to put the 5 i240 away All right, so now I've got the i230 5-iron. Another thing to notice, I couldn't get the same shafts. So this is a 105 gram shaft for the i230, and those i240s have 125 or 130 gram shafts. All right, so that was much better. Again, for me in a 5-iron, that's a 184 carry. I mean, I believe it. I believe it. I did not catch that as well as I did the i240 5-iron. That was nailed, my friends. Nailed and pulled, but nailed. That said 191, felt great. All right, very well hit for me. Not super flushed, but it says 186. So an 85–90% shot with the i230 will get me about 186. One more and that's it. That was a wiffle ball, because that was good contact. It just dove out of the sky. It says 184 carry. So the real numbers for these will come when I'm hitting Pro V1s into a net. So that's it for the i230 5-iron. All right, we're gonna move right up to 7-iron. I've got the i230 7-iron. Let me put it next to the i240. Just a little comparison and contrast. Here's the soles. Here are the blades. See, to me right now, the 7 for the i230 looks, it's a bigger blade, a little beefier. Maybe it's a little longer, I'm not sure. And they've made changes in the grooves. So the i230s have many more grooves. And you can see the i240, which is this one right here, a lot fewer. They're supposed to be sharper and impart more spin. We'll see. Launch monitor testing with the Pro V1. Golf balls, I've got 6 or 7 of them. I've already hit some practice shots with some really smooth swings. So I'm not swinging quite as hard to try and make better contact. So let's see, this is the i240 7-iron, and I'm gonna hit the i230 7-iron. Really solid, but really pulled. 78.5 swing speed, 164 carry, 71 height. So I liked everything about that except the starting direction. I like that one. Flew, launched really high. Yeah, I took off some distance. So it's 85 swing speed, it says. 160 carry, 91 feet high, launch 20 degrees. That was thin, like the direction. 78 mile/hour swing, 158 carry. Little toe. I don't hate it. 81 miles per hour, 170 carry. Pretty straight. 16 degree launch, 70 feet high. Okay, one more. Worst one, hand slipped. I don't love these grips. This is just the Tour Velvet. I need more tackiness, more grippiness. I like cord grips. That was a good one. Hanging up on that one. 161 carry, 78 club, 81 feet high. All right, so let's resume with the i230 7-iron. Little thin, little pulled. It says 80.5 miles per hour, 164.8 carry. That definitely, to me, that pulled left, but it's showing straight. 81 feet high, I'm happy with that. Okay, felt good, felt solid. Again, very similar, if not same, as the 240s feel. That was definitely thin. Towards the toe, 81.7, 170 carry. Man, I'm getting farther out towards the toe. 83.4, 160.9 carry. Also solid, also pulled. It says 73.8 swing speed. That felt faster than that. 174.9 carry. I buy the carry numbers. Thin to win. 82.9 speed, 165.9 carry. Fat. First fat one. now I'm kind of going to try and switch back and forth. I'm going to hit the i240 7. That was hit well. 81.7 swing, 173 carry. To me, that would have been a baby draw. 85 feet high, close to 87. Okay, it's one really good swing in a row. Here's the 7. Well hit, gotta say. 81.6 speed, 158.3 carry. Man, I don't understand that discrepancy fully, because that's a big discrepancy. I'm gonna swing one more with the i230. There's a big difference from what to me felt like similar contact. But the 240 is supposed to be more forgiving. Pretty good, not great. 81 swing speed, 163 carry. See, those last two swings, contact felt about the same. Swings felt about the same. That was lower launch, which explains some of it. All right, I'm gonna hit the i240 again. Right, so what are my thoughts so far? I think you have more margin for error with the 240s. Flush shots probably go pretty identical. See, that felt like the prior two shots with the 230s. Let's see what it does. 81 speed, 178 carry, 68 feet high, same peak height. I mean, that's a big difference. 79.6 speed, 165 carry. You get more out of the 240s as you move away from the sweet spot. I'm gonna swing the i230 again. A little towards the toe, but pretty well hit otherwise. Like right here, which is kind of my standard miss. 79.6 speed, 154 carry. That seems very low. I'll tell you what I remember from my review of the i230s in 2022. My impression was you've got some margin of error. You don't have a ton. And that's kind of being borne out. I mean, they don't feel terrible when you miss-hit them at all. They feel fine, but you're gonna give up some performance there. Like, I don't think these are as open to mid handicaps as the 240s. Same contact, everything's on the toe. 80.8 swing speed, 162 carry. All right, if you flush them, you're gonna get pretty much the same numbers. Distance, carry, height, trajectory, the whole 9 yards. As you start moving away from the sweet spot on either club, the 240 will give you more distance out of that and probably more height too. The 230, a little more punishing, though you won't feel it, still feels good. All right, so that's it from the premium golf ball launch monitor testing. All right, so what are my thoughts on the i240s versus i230s? From a standpoint of getting up to the ball, hot frames at address, ball flight, feel, pretty similar in all regards, in my opinion. And this is not taking numbers into account. Probably around the same results on miss-hits, but I think the Ping i240s give you a little more out of your miss-hits than the i230s. And maybe a yard or two more on well-hit shots. That's debatable. That's just the feeling kind of glancing at these numbers with range balls. Who knows? So these, the i230s, it kind of verifies everything I thought when I hit them a couple years ago, or in 2022. Really solid, soft for cast irons, good flight, good trajectory, good distance, decent forgiveness. Putting them next to the i240s, a lot of similarities there, not a ton of difference except obviously in the cosmetics. All right, so that's my snap opinions on the i240s versus the i230s. Which one should you get if you're in the market? These are going to be a few $100 cheaper for pretty similar performance. If money's no object, I'd go for the i240s. If you're trying to stretch those dollars, I say go for the i230s. All right, I've slightly changed my recommendation for the i240s versus the i230s. I found out after shooting the ending of the video that the i240s are pretty much the same price as the i230s. So you can find the i230s now for $187 to $200 per club. $200 per club is the price for the i240s. So for newer technology and slightly better performance, you've got to go with the i240s until Ping brings the prices of the i230s down. So new recommendation out of these two clubs, at the current pricing, you have to go with the Ping i240s.